listening to the Fun with Horror podcast with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hello, beautiful horror friends. This is Fun with Horror, the weekly horror movie review podcast, which Scotty and I take turns giving each other movies to watch, and then we discuss them the following week. The only two rules we have is that whoever picks the next movie must pick one they've never seen, and then we both have to watch it. Last week, I picked PG, which is for Psycho Goreman. I'm really excited to talk about this. And that is directed by Steven Kostanski, and it stars Nita-Josee, Hanna, Owen, Myre, and Matthew Ninaber. And stay tuned to after we talk about this so you can hear what our next movie is that Scotty will pick for the next week. But without further ado, we'll talk. Without further ado, PG Psycho Goreman, man.
Well, yeah, but before we talk about PG Psycho Goreman.
Goreman.
By the way, I like that you mentioned Matthew Ninaber.
Thanks. Well, I feel like those were our three kind of main characters.
And we'll mention him.
Yeah. Yep.
But Andrew.
Yes, Scotty.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I am sitting here recording a podcast, watching my girlfriend play Sonic Mania.
Nice.
So if I ever sound distracted, it's because I'm just hoping she gets all those rings.
Hey, every 100 she gets a life.
And my cat is meowing for dear life in the background because we don't feed her enough. Just kidding. We feed her all the time. She's just a little fatty. Love that cat.
Aww. I love both your cats. I haven't met either of them yet, but the pictures
and they
I've
probably
seen.
make you die of sneezing.
I'm going to anaphylactic shock. Yeah.
I love this cat. So, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
As we record this,
yes.
Last weekend was Halloween weekend.
It was.
Of course, there'll be like 2 weekends ago by the time anybody gets to hear this, besides you and me. But
true.
But who cares?
Yeah.
Last weekend was Halloween weekend.
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit, and you watched some movies.
Oh, man, did I?
Go ahead and list all the movies you watched Halloween weekend.
Okay. So, night number 1, which I think was Friday night we started, we did What We Do in the Shadows.
Right.
Which was recommended by you.
Yes, and you finally watched it.
Finally watched it, man.
What did you think?
I loved it.
I knew you would.
Yep. Anything, in all honesty, I would say probably my two favorite directors right now anyway, and I mentioned this in one of our podcasts, was Edgar Wright. I love him.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi, man. He is just such a treat. And this was, you could tell that this was his baby, and Jermaine as well, but you could see his imprint on the whole thing, and it was so good.
Yeah. I think that was kind of my introduction to Taika Waititi because I'd never really watched Flight of the Conchords.
Right.
I was familiar with it. I'd seen some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I love What We Do in the Shadows. And now, as I've mentioned, you can watch the TV series.
Yay!
Have you started yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, but I really want to. I'm really excited.
Personal opinion, I do think, crazy as it may be, I think it's an improvement in a way.
Whoa. That's high praise.
In some ways, it's fantastic. The TV, it's one of those TV series that every episode I'm watching it, I'm just constantly blown away by how well done it is. The comedy is just perfect for me. So,
well, if it's similar to the movie, which I'm assuming it probably is similar at least.
Yes.
That is definitely my humor, for sure. So I know I'll love the show.
So, what else did you watch? I mean, that was the main one I wanted to hear what you thought.
Right.
But what else did you watch?
And then we watched, I watched Trick or Treat, not on Halloween, watched the night before.
That's still fine.
Yeah, I figured that Halloween weekend, we'll count it.
Yeah.
And then the next day I watched Psycho Goreman on Halloween. That was how I started my Halloween day. and then ended the night with Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of a fun one
Nice.
for Halloween. Something. Yeah, kind of fun.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. What about you? I know you watched some too, I believe.
Yeah, so I watched on Saturday, Halloween Eve, I watched Halloween,
Ooh.
the original.
Yes.
And then on Sunday, we got to watch like 3 different movies. First, we watched the new Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin.
Interesting. And
And I liked it a lot.
okay.
I was so the whole thing, my whole relationship with that series is that I really, obviously the first movie is my favorite of all of them.
Right.
And the first 3 movies kind of follow that basic formula, but as you know, around the 3rd movie, they start to get into this lore, what's causing all this demonic possession and whatever and hauntings
Right.
and I think a lot of people kind of were turned off by that, but it stopped being as scary, but it became like really fun to watch. Like I like that storyline. And I can tell you that Next of Kin, there's only small connections to the other movies. It's kind of its own new movie, and it's got some really effective scenes. And I really liked it. I'm not sure everybody's going to love it, but I definitely recommend it if you've seen all the other ones.
Just for for anyone listening, I guess I've seen, I don't know, the first 3 or 4, whatever we watched. I can't really remember.
Okay.
Should I watch
think-
the other ones? Or if I jumped into this, would it still be
No, I think you could jump into this one.
okay?
Actually, I think you can.
Okay.
I'm kind of OCD about watching things in order, so
Yeah.
my first instinct is to say, no, you have to watch them all. But I think, honestly, if you jumped into this one, I mean, you wouldn't be lost.
Okay.
There's like only a tenuous connection.
Cool. All right.
But that was Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday night, we watched Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yes, dude.
And watched it in beautiful 4K HDR.
How was it?
Which, man, it was it's unbelievable how beautiful those movies can look.
Nice.
Like Halloween 1978 and Halloween 3. I haven't watched the other 3 Halloween movies, the 2, 4, and 5. But they're all in 4K. I know they all look great, and it's fantastic. And then, but the kind of the highlight was that, I still have a 3D TV.
Yeah.
And as I told you, when we got home, Halloween evening, I went crazy trying to make sure that everything was still working, my 3D glasses and whatnot, and we watched Friday the 13th, Part 3D.
Yes.
And we watched it in 3D, and it was such a joy because it's definitely not one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies.
Right.
But in 3D, it's just so much fun that you kind of don't care how kind of bad the movie is.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we could go on about those Friday the 13th movies, but it's just so strange to me that I don't know, it's so weird to me because Jason with the hockey mask is so iconic.
Right.
And no matter how many times I see these movies, it still is just crazy to me that he didn't get his hockey mask until the 3rd movie.
Right.
And it's not even a great movie.
It's really not.
It's really like the characters are so
one-dimensional. Holy moly,
Yeah.
that movie. Yeah.
and it's just like at one point they just keep walking into the barn and it's like you're just like feeding him. Like, you guys don't come to me, Jason. We'll come to you.
Yeah. We'll do the job for you.
Anyway, we don't want to go into all of that movie in case
Right.
somebody out there hasn't seen it.
Right. Fair enough.
But it was a good Halloween.
That sounds awesome, man. Those are great picks.
It It's so crazy because every Halloween I have an idea of what I'm going to watch, and then I don't watch it. I end up watching something else, usually.
Right.
So, but yeah, happy Halloween, buddy.
Happy Halloween to you too.
Every day is Halloween.
With fun with horror.
Okay, yeah. And everybody else.
And everybody else.
Are you caught up with Chucky real quick?
I haven't watched the newest episode, so I've watched one through 3, but I haven't watched episode 4. How about you?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
Watch that new one.
Okay, I will for sure. I love it. It's such a fun show.
Yeah, I love it too. It's yeah. We'll discuss it after you watch it, but
Okay.
yeah, I liked it a lot.
Nice. Yay.
Many moons ago, a nameless evil was imprisoned in a place far beyond reach.
Hurry up!
If he were ever to be released, it would spell certain doom for all existence.
Andrew,
Scotty.
are we recording?
We are.
Okay, good.
I think. Yes, yeah, we're recording.
That'd be funny if we just kept going and then you're like, okay, and recording
Right?
after 30 minutes.
Or to do the whole, that's one of my biggest worries is that I'm going to forget to hit record and we'll do the entire episode. And just,
That would be fun.
that's a nightmare.
That's my dream come true.
Stop it.
So last week, after copious hints by me, you finally chose PG Psycho Goreman.
Yes.
And you laughed at me earlier, but I have heard people say it different ways.
I don't know. I guess they say
I've heard Psycho Goreman,
Mm-hmm.
but then I've watched, like, on some of the bonus features,
Mm-hmm.
some of the actors say Goreman. So I like Psycho Goreman.
I'm going to go with that. Well, I think, in all honesty, I was just nervous saying it. I was like, don't screw this up. And then
Don't screw this up.
don't
Scotty
screw
will
up.
hate you forever.
this intro, you better get this right, you. So,
This
yeah.
is Scotty's favorite. Do you know why it's called PG Psycho Goreman?
I do not know why.
Because the director wanted to have like a little throwback. Well, there's two reasons. Number one, he wanted to have like a throwback title to E.T.
Oh, funny.
So he wanted it to be similar, PG, E.T.
Clever.
But then he also thought it would be funny and clever if his movie was called PG but had a pretty hard R rating. And he's already talked about if he does a sequel, he might call it PG-13.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
But anyway,
But before we
So, yeah,
discuss the
yeah,
movie,
before we discuss,
we better do our spoiler warning.
Oh, go for it.
Yes.
Please.
No. So just a reminder to everyone listening, if you have not seen PG Psycho Goreman or Goreman, we are going to spoil everything. We are going to talk about
Everything.
beginning, middle,
maybe
end.
not everything.
Yeah, maybe
we're
not
gonna,
everything.
We're going to spoil a lot.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched it and you're okay with spoilers, continue to listen. If you haven't watched and you don't want spoilers, pause our podcast, go watch it real quick, and then come back.
You can call it a pause cast. that's horrible.
That's so bad. I threw up just a little.
Pausecast.
Pausecast. Fun with Pausecast.
Oh. We're going to accidentally say that now.
I know.
Hi, welcome to Fun with Horror, the horror movie podcast. Oh. Anyway, let's not keep the suspense going any longer, Andrew. What
Right.
did you think of that movie that I love so dearly and hold so dear to my heart?
I know. Okay. Well, I'm going to give a little spiel. So bear
Spiel.
with me here real quick.
Okay.
I love Over the Top. I do. I love, like I mentioned earlier, Edgar Wright is one of my favorite directors, and he made Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Very over the top, very crazy, charismatic, but one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Love Over the Top. So, having said that, this movie was a little much for me, man. This was a little too over the top for me. I get why people love it. I like that's the thing is I understand the appeal. I totally get it. I can see why this, why shirts are made of this, and I can see why this would be people's, kind of go-to movie when they're sick at home and they want something to watch.
Quick aside.
Yes.
I'm wearing my Psycho Goreman t-shirt
Are
right
you
now.
really?
Yes.
So good.
Well, not in your opinion.
Not in my opinion, but mind you, again, like I said, I'm so happy that people love this movie. That's awesome, and I get the appeal. For me, it was a little rough to watch, man. There's definitely some highlights, and we'll get into it, and some things I really loved, and some really funny lines. But overall, it was just a little too over the top for me, which is kind of crazy coming from someone like me.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yeah, please.
Have you ever been a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Oh my gosh, dude, that's my note. Yes, I loved it as a kid, and there is totally some call-outs to that show in this movie. Especially, there's one. I'll just talk about the music really quick, just one brief thing.
Yeah.
But there's one fight scene in the background. You'll hear a guitar riff that's it's almost the exact same guitar riff that played every time the Power Rangers fought. Because I loved Power Rangers as a kid, so that was fun for me. I was like, oh, is that the Power Rangers theme when they fight? Which I have that note. I thought that was one of my highlights. I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah. It did remind me of Power Rangers though as well, and I'm not a huge fan anymore. I know lots of people are, and that's awesome. But yeah.
Interesting. We're gonna have a slight disagreement.
I know this is our first. Well, I guess we have.
It's nice when I'm the only one I'm the only one that's right.
I know. I told Cindy today. I was like, I'm really nervous about today's episode. She was like, "Why?"
Wow.
I was like,
"You were nervous?"
Well, yeah, just because I was like, I'm not trying to bash the movie. As we know, that's not our thing. We're not bashing movies.
No.
We're talking about what we like and didn't like. And so that's not my goal. But I always feel bad when people put a lot of work in these. And I don't like being the negative guy about it, but this one, like I said, I had a harder time with it, man.
I mean, heck, I felt bad last week. I honestly, I get it, because after our Hellfest discussion, I felt bad too. Even though at the end I said it can be a fun movie, I felt bad that there's so much that I talked negatively about.
Yeah,
but we got to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And I'm being honest. I really was like, how can I twist this to make it sound like I really liked it? But I couldn't. I couldn't.
Well,
really.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah, please.
What did you think of Mimi?
Oh, I actually was really excited for her to die, which sounds horrible because she's like a 10-year-old girl. But
so you were on that in that camp.
Yes. And then she didn't. Spoiler: she didn't die, and I was like, all right.
Because I have found that a lot of people, there's people that absolutely adore her, and then there's people that are very annoyed by her character.
Yes, I was the latter.
Oh, see, I love her. I think
Really?
she's hilarious. Yeah. There's a certain point in the movie when I think you're kind of not supposed to like her as much, because she starts to become too much of a bully, and that's
right
where obviously when Psycho Goreman goes into Luke's dream,
right,
and says, "I've noticed how she treats you," and so I think around that point you are supposed to dislike her a little bit. But up until that point, especially on second and third viewings of this movie, I'm just laughing my ass off. She's just so, for her age,
right.
Her characteristics are just so animated and hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like when they come into her room and they misname something, and the way she reacts is just like so over the top comedic, and I actually love her. But like I said, I've heard people in your camp who were pretty annoyed by her character.
Well, yeah, and it was, I guess she was a bully from the beginning with the brother, with Luke. And I don't like bullies, plain and simple. I just don't.
And I
like
don't
bullies.
either.
You're
don't
right.
either.
I'm not. Yeah, that wasn't what. Scotty is a very big fan of bullies. No.
Love them.
Love them.
No, I don't. I hate bullies too. But
Right.
there was for much of the movie. There's a fun. There's a brother sister sibling thing going on that was more fun than your basic mean bully. But then
Right.
at a certain point it becomes more mean.
Right.
And
exactly.
You're hoping for what? Well, you were hoping for death, obviously.
Maybe that's strong. I was hoping that she would get some kind of repercussion for being a stinker.
Well, and she doesn't really,
Right.
but she does come to understand the relationship she has with her brother, and they kind of make up at the end of the movie.
Right. That's true. And I guess too, like I was thinking, I kind of went into dad mode watching this movie a little bit too, where she would like sass the parents, and I was like, oh man, if my kiddo tried something like that, like there was just a few of those times where I was like, oh, you'd be grounded.
See, and funny enough, I felt that way the first time I saw the movie.
Oh, funny.
The second time, knowing what to expect, I just went with it. And you only watched it once, I'm guessing.
Yes, and that's the thing I was going to say, too, is this one, I think, at some point, I will definitely watch again. Because, as you know, with movies, they change. I mean, our feelings to movies change, especially on second or third viewing. I've had a lot of movies like that where I didn't like it, and then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, that's really good, actually.
That's an interesting side conversation, because you know how much I hate spoilers.
Right.
I like going into movies blind.
Yes.
But at the same time, I am also a huge fan of rewatching a movie knowing what to expect the second time.
That is funny. That's interesting.
So, yeah. And because I truly believe that there's a certain expectation, as much as we try and tamper those expectations of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you had some certain influence from me with this movie, thinking that it was going to be, oh, this is the best movie ever because Scotty loves it so much.
Right.
And in reality, when you picked it and you were like, I'm really looking forward to watching this movie, I was cringing inside going, ooh. And I almost wanted to tell you to watch the trailer because you said, I know nothing about this movie. I don't know what to expect. And I was like, you might. I don't know. But then again, I hate trailers.
Right. Catch-22, man.
I almost should have. I wonder if I should have made you watch the trailer just so you knew what kind of movie it was.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I mean that might have helped, I guess, because like you said, I really didn't know anything. I'd seen the picture, and I think I'd seen like another picture of the two with Luke and Mimi next to him, but that's about it. So I really had nothing. I was a blank slate going into this.
So I'm scared to ask now, but
no, please. There's good.
What about Greg, the dad?
Oh man, Greg bugged me.
No, he was so funny.
No, he was. Here's the thing: like the actors were great. You know what I mean? Like they were very over the top.
The characters.
I'm not
talking about the acting.
I know. I'm getting there. So they were good, but the characters really bugged me. Like he, I mean, even his wife was like, he's the worst. He doesn't do anything, and like.
But that's amazing. Like this is not a realistic movie.
Right. That's totally true. You're right.
And that's why I really would like you to watch it a second time, like right now, while we record this podcast. No, right. I would love for you to see it a second time because this whole movie, there's so many things you should not take seriously. And his parenting is one of those things.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious. Like he's always like, I don't care. Like he's on Mimi's side.
Yeah.
And he just and he's just the laziest dad ever.
Right. Well, and that was one part. Like, so he goes to dig, or yeah, okay. This was one thing.
Yeah.
Where they had
the
dug
hole
the
digging.
hole, right? And then they said someone needs to fill this up. And I was like, again, like if my daughter did that, my immediate reaction would be like, you dug it, you fill it. Like this is on you. But they're like, well,
You're
it should be
horrible.
one of us parents. And then he like,
You are horrible.
no,
Why
she
you would make your daughter fill a hole that she dug?
absolutely. And she wouldn't eat or drink until it's full. No.
First
I'm
of all,
kidding.
if she ever dug a hole as deep as that one in the movie,
I would be pretty impressed.
yeah, I want to see pictures and I want to call her and congratulate her.
Right. Yeah, they have some massive strength. No, but like the dad goes
Yeah.
to like fill it in the hole and then hurts his wrist. And I thought that was like supposed
Quote
to be
unquote.
yeah, quote unquote. And I thought that was the joke. And I was like, oh, that's funny. He does want them to fill it in. Like, haha. But then I realized as the movie goes, you're like, oh no, he's just like lazy. That was him saying like, ow, my wrist really hurts. Like I can't fill it in. Oh god. Like, to me, I was
Which
just-
he may have
oh.
actually, the character Greg may have actually hurt his wrist because he wears a like the brace. What do you call it? Throughout the entire movie,
Yeah. Well, and then he does get it broken though at the end, which was
Yeah,
pretty
by
awesome.
trying to high five Psycho Goreman.
See, there were.
See,
and
I
there's
loved
funny
Adam
moments.
Brooks. Adam Brooks played Greg.
Oh, right on. Okay.
I thought he was fantastic.
I liked
it's
him as an
just- it's
actor
just-
too. Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting because there's just such a huge disconnect from reality with this movie, and
Right.
your criticisms
Mm-hmm.
are rooted in reality. Like, I hated the dad; he was so lazy, and I'm like, yeah, but he's not really supposed to be
Right.
a realistic dad.
Right. I get that.
You
and
know, when he made them the dinner and the microwave, he's like, "God, I thought you would love that scene." And she says, "You made a mess in the microwave," and he just looks back and he goes, "You're welcome." And he's like, seriously, about to cry, like he had tears coming out of his eyes almost. And I love that scene. You didn't laugh at all?
I laugh. No, like I said, there was moments, man. I'm giving you my negative first, then I'll get into like the positives because
Okay,
there are
okay,
positives, and
okay.
there's moments where I genuinely was laughing and I really liked parts of it. And so my overall, that's what I'll say. My overall impression, it wasn't my favorite movie. Were there funny parts? Of course, absolutely. Were there parts I liked? Of course, as any movie. But overall, yeah, it was not my favorite.
Okay,
But
so negatives, it was a little over the top.
yeah,
Too over the top for you.
right. Yep.
And you didn't really care for the characters themselves.
Right. Yep. And again, I think that probably has to do with the over the top part of it too. But yeah, and especially Mimi though. Mimi, you mentioned, I'm just in that category that just thought she was a snot. I did not like her. But there was funny moments. Like I enjoyed, like the deaths in this movie were great. Those were super fun.
Yeah.
And ridiculous, and those were also over the top, but I was totally on board with that. And maybe that is because I love 80s horror slasher movies where some of the deaths are just ridiculous, and I'm okay with that. Like that's fun.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. That's awesome. So the deaths were really fun. There were some funny lines, like oh god, what does he call him? Hunky boy. You and I.
Yeah.
The hunky boy lines are really funny. They cracked me up.
But did it crack you up when Mimi said it the first time to Alistair? Or Alistair, I guess.
I don't think it did. I think
They're
it was when
they're at the
Psycho
bus
said
stop.
it. I don't
Yeah, they're at
remember
the
that,
bus
I
stop,
guess,
and
yeah.
she's got like a little crush on Alistair.
Right.
And she says something. She just calls him a hunky boy, and I just cracks me up every time because I love Mimi.
I do not. Although, speaking of Alistair, that part,
Yes.
like again, it was very funny. Like that was silly, where he gets turned into a giant brain for the rest of the movie. Like
Yeah.
it was so random. But I
And
thought that
so
was funny.
here's the thing. You thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny too.
Mhm.
But that's where, like, for the whole entire movie, and this is something I was going to mention,
Uh-huh.
the entire movie, I'm able to separate reality.
Right.
Just push reality to the side for this movie.
Right.
But I couldn't help thinking, like, oh man, he's still a brain at the end of the movie.
Right.
And he's just so sad. He's never going to be a little boy again.
I thought that same thing. I did. Although I did love the credits where it's just him and his parents eating for the entire credits, which I was like, that's pretty awesome.
And he's just sitting there with his like little tentacles.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
Which that was another thing, is the practical effects in this movie were great. I loved them. Like, even there was, when you go up to the spaceship the first time and we see like that, I forget what she's called, kind of like the angel lady that comes down.
The Templar.
Templar, thank you.
Pandora.
Yes. You see that there's like the robot that comes in to bring the lady from Earth. And it's claymation. It's all claymation. And I was like, yes, that's great. I love that they did claymation in this. And I loved practical effects. So I know we get CGI and stuff a bit in there too, since it's on the otherworld, scenes, but
Just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, not much, not bad. But
I think there was like he had like 2 guys doing CG.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, this was a pretty low budget movie. I mean, they did a lot with what they had, and Stephen Kostanski, as you mentioned, is the director.
Mm-hmm.
He directed The Void. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have not seen The Void.
I have not seen it. And he also directed Leprechaun Returns, the most recent one.
Oh, okay. I have not seen that.
Now, I kind of want to see that now. Now I'm like, well, I guess it's time for a Leprechaun series watch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because of how much I like this movie. But yeah, he wanted as much as possible. He even designed most of the creatures.
Oh, that's cool.
So
and I liked the creatures for sure. Everything looked cool.
Yeah. He did a lot. He wrote the movie, he directed it. He was creature designer, creator. But for some digital effects that he needed, he hired 2 guys that are actually really good at digital effects. That's
quite impressive to see that on that movie. No, it's just a couple guys.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I'm all about that. And it's cool to know they did it on a tight budget, because they did a great job, for what they had. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I would like to see some of his other stuff as well, because I'm all about it. I think you did a good job directing, so I would like to see more. But
Okay.
I don't
So,
know, man.
What did you think of Psycho Goreman himself and the story?
Good question. I'm so sorry, dude. I told you I was so nervous for this one. Like, I went out to lunch with my wife today, and like, I was like, man, I'm really nervous about this one. Like, I feel horrible that I'm gonna like not be kind, I guess.
Hello, horror fans. Welcome to the final episode of Fun with Horror.
I know. Are we gonna still be best friends after this? That's the question. Psycho Goreman, he was fine. Like, he was cool. I guess I don't really have much of an opinion on him. The story I like. Like, I really enjoy. I've seen that kind of story before, where someone gets like something that can control whatever, something important. So I like that idea of it. Or
something important.
Something, or an alien.
Somebody can control a creature who can destroy entire planets and civilizations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like that idea. I think that's cool, and I like the idea that I went to kids, instead of like the military or something that can use him for, wars and everything. I just like that it went to these 2 kids that can use him to play a ball game, or to turn their friend into
Crazy
a brain,
ball.
or crazy ball, or you know what I mean, like something just ridiculous, or have a band montage with him, which they do. I think that's funny. I think that's really clever.
By the way,
I liked that scene. I will say that.
Okay.
That did make me laugh, and the song was funny. And just seeing this Alistair play the drums or whatever he was playing, keyboard. I can't remember, but he was
keyboard. Yeah,
he was keyboard.
PG was playing the drums.
Right, you're right. Just seeing him like with those tentacles moving, it's like so silly. But I enjoyed that. That was funny. So I like the story. I like the idea. I don't know, man. Like I said, it was just It was just a little over the top. That was my biggest thing, and it took me out.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair, and you're not the first person to think that.
Cool. Good. Okay.
There are other people that it's not their thing.
Yeah.
Although I do want you to watch it again at some point.
I
and see
will,
what you
and
think.
I agree, because like I said, I've done that, and so have you, and so has everyone that's watched movies. I'm sure has seen something they didn't like, and then rewatch it and go, oh, I have a better understanding of this and like it more. So I think that sure could happen with this one. I'll wait a little bit before I rewatch it, but I definitely it will.
No, watch it now.
Not yet, but at some point, yes. This is one I definitely will rewatch. Yeah.
Well, then allow me to lavish praise upon this wonderful creation of a film.
Please, I already gave my negative, man. Please, give me the goods.
I love this movie. This
Yeah.
is no secret. I can definitely tell you that I liked the movie a lot the first time I saw it.
Oh, okay.
And I'd only seen it once before this past week.
Oh,
I saw it beginning of the year when it came out, and it came to iTunes. I bought it, and we watched it one night. And yeah, I absolutely liked it a lot.
mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way. This week, when I watched it again,
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking forward to watching it again because I had a feeling I would like it even more. And sure enough, I kind of fell in love with it this week.
Aw.
And I like, so yeah, and I've got so many little fun facts about this movie.
Ooh, please. I'll
Like,
take
first
those,
of
man.
all,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Steven Kostanski, the director,
Mm-hmm.
his original idea came from just the idea he saw a monster playing drums in his head. That was the nucleus of this entire movie.
That's awesome.
And then it eventually became this movie, Psycho Goreman. And Psycho Goreman is an alien from the planet Gygax,
Right.
which I'm not sure if you caught this, but Gygax was named after the creator of Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh, I did not. That's awesome.
Gary Gygax. There's so much to say. Like, first of all, I do love the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mimi's hilarious. I think she's over the top, and she's one of those kids that's acting like an adult in a way.
Right.
And normally, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and it would usually bother me in a movie, but this movie is so based in unreality and just kind of off the wall dark humor that
Right.
I went with it and ended up loving her as a little actress. I agree she shouldn't be a bully to her brother, but yeah, around the time that happens, you kind of want some things to go wrong, and they kind of do.
Right.
I loved Psycho Goreman's design, especially this time watching the movie.
I agree. Yep, design was great. I agree.
Kostanski wanted the design of PG to be a monster that, if it was a toy, it would be the type of toy he would want to buy off the shelf.
Oh, I like that.
So, and I liked that he has these pink veins or cracks running through him that I really liked. I loved how serious he was about destroying the universe and everything and just killing everybody, but
Yeah.
he couldn't.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. And it cracked me up every time. And I love, man, there was an Andrew moment in the movie
Wait, which one?
where PG says something, I can't remember the exact quote, but he says something really, really like doom and destruction as Mimi and Luke are leaving the warehouse where they're keeping PG.
Yeah.
He's like, I will bathe in the blood of
Oh, right.
everybody, and then Mimi just goes, okay, bye, and she just carries the
Yeah.
bye for like
A long
seconds on
time,
end. And I was like, Andrew's gonna love this.
No, I agree. That part was funny. Yes, I would agree.
And
with
then,
you.
of course, when Alistair meets PG, and Alistair's about to leave, and he goes, okay, well, it was nice meeting you. And PG goes, "It would be nicer if you were dead." And Alistair goes, well, "Okay, bye."
Yeah. I actually have that one as a note. Yeah.
So yeah, I loved the design of Psycho Goreman. Watching the extras, I have to give credit. Like I said, I was glad you mentioned Matthew Ninaber, who was the person in the PG Psycho Goreman suit.
Right.
Evidently, that was hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that suit was so hot, and
Oh,
he
I
had to
bet.
be in it for so many hours a day. But the director and everybody, like, they're so complimentary of him and how well he played the part in that suit. So big props to Matthew Ninaber for doing such a great job as Psycho Goreman.
For sure. That's awesome.
Of course, there's another guy, Steve Vlahos, I think his name is. It was Psycho Goreman's voice.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And I that's another thing I loved. I loved his voice and the modulation they put on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at home with my sound system, there's bass in everything PG says, and it's so cool.
That's cool.
I liked PG's Psycho Goreman's warrior's death.
Yeah, where he just eats them.
Yeah, everybody's like, "No, please."
That's
I will
pretty
give
good.
you a warrior's death. No, not that. And then he just eats them. He extends his mouth super big and just swallows them and barfs out blood.
Yeah.
So good.
Again, great practical effect. It looked awesome.
I also loved all the homages in this movie. You mentioned something I would have brought up eventually. Blitz Berlin did the music to the movie, and their whole goal was to make it sound like a 90s horror movie music and stuff like that. And I think it straddled the line between 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And I like the music a lot. I have
agree.
the soundtrack on vinyl. I wouldn't say I love the score like I do other movies, but I do like this one a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, you mentioned the Mighty Morphin's Power Ranger
Like guitar
nod.
riff. Yeah.
In their music, and that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But Luke, when PG comes into his dreams, that entire scene was an homage to the first Phantasm movie, which I actually did not catch. I should have, but I didn't catch it until I watched the commentary.
Interesting.
Yeah, the director mentioned it.
Cool.
When Psycho Goreman comes out and he's wearing a hat and the shirt and pants.
And the sunglasses, yeah.
Again, this is something I didn't even catch until the director mentioned it, but that is supposed to be, he's dressed very blatantly like Alan Grant in Jurassic Park.
Oh, funny. Totally he is. Oh my gosh. That's funny. It's the exact outfit. That's hilarious.
It's the exact outfit. So the name of the town, you only see the name of the town, I think, once or twice.
Oh, I
but
don't
you see it in
remember
front
that.
of the police station. It's called Spengler Springs, named after Egon Spengler from Ghostbusters.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
that's awesome.
Oh, and yeah, and then so one of my other favorite characters was the cop who gets melted.
Dude, I have that note. He was probably my favorite character. His walk was fantastic.
And his head
Yeah.
bobbing all over the place.
Oh, go. Yeah. He was great. Whoever was in that did a great job. He was super funny to watch.
There's background to that too.
Ooh, okay.
So Stephen Kostanski directed a short called BioCop, which I haven't seen. I wasn't familiar with it. But he thought it would be funny if this cop in Psycho Goreman was the origin of BioCop. And it's the same actor who plays BioCop in the short played BioCop in this.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really
But
cool.
yeah, love that character so much. Maybe one of my favorite characters in the movie besides Psycho Goreman himself.
And just my favorite too is his hand has melted the gun, so when he's walking, every once in a while it just shoots off.
Yeah,
That had
yeah.
me laughing a lot. I was really laughing at that.
And I'm not one to laugh at suicide jokes, but just when he just like puts the gun to his head and shoots and it does nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he's so sad.
Because he's like in torture. He's just melted and
Yeah. Please kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that, but that leads me to another movie homage. They're walking through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Biocop, Psycho Goreman, Mimi and Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And Mimi is teaching Psycho Goreman about their favorite expression, frig off.
Right.
So it's an homage to the conversation in Terminator 2 where John is teaching the T-800 to say hasta la vista, baby.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
But in this movie, it's frig off.
Yep.
Those are like all the homages. I love the end. I love the whole idea of Crazy Ball being this game that nobody can figure out the rules to, right. And that's deciding the fate of the universe. And as I've mentioned, I love the dad. I just think he's the worst dad. He's the worst,
yeah.
But he's hilarious in how bad he is.
Yeah.
And he's one of the creators of this whole collective that they're called Astron 6. And they've made all these movies. He's actually been in a bunch of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Father's Day, Manborg. Yeah, there's a bunch of these movies that are kind of the same kind of humor and off the wallness that I'm not going to ask you to watch now.
Thanks.
But yeah, Adam Brooks, who plays the dad, he's one of the creators of Astron 6. And
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and actually, I would like you to watch some of the bonus features.
Okay.
Because there's an interview between a little stuffed panda and Adam Brooks.
Oh my gosh.
And if you don't appreciate the humor in that, I don't know what to do.
We'll stop the podcast.
We'll stop it right there. So, okay, let's just move on and go to our 3 questions.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
So, first of all, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
What was your favorite death or kill in this movie?
So this one had a lot more kills than last week, I feel like, or a lot more variety. However, I think the very first, I guess technically it would be third kill, but in the warehouse when Psycho Goreman goes in and essentially makes that guy die but live forever. That was great.
Yes.
I loved
and
that.
His eyes are like
yeah.
infinitely spinning in his head.
Yes, but I love that they like push him over and he just kind of shatters. And he's like, "Thank you." And then Psycho Goreman's like mad about it. He's like, "That was my masterpiece." That made me laugh.
That.
So that was my favorite.
That was also my favorite kill.
Really?
Yeah. I loved it. And there's a lot of good ones in this movie, but because like you said, Luke just accidentally bumps into him and his head just kind of just explodes in all this gore, and his mouth is still somehow able to move. That was a great part.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this, Andrew. Was Psycho Goreman scary?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, no.
No.
In fact, I would say this movie definitely straddles the line of horror.
Right. You're right.
As far as the genre goes, it's horror in that there are a lot of gruesome and gory deaths, for sure. But I would definitely call this movie a science fiction horror movie.
Right. Absolutely.
And comedy. Comedy too.
Yep.
But it can be classified at times as a horror movie, so that's why we watched it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's funny because I think last week or the week before, I think it was last week when I said I hate it when somebody says, that's not a horror movie. It wasn't even scary.
Right.
But that's kind of true with this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel. This movie definitely doesn't feel like a straight up horror movie.
No, not at all. No, very different.
But then, okay, so number 3, Andrew. Did you have fun with horror watching Psycho Goreman?
I would say I would say 50-50. 50% of me was not liking it at all. But 50% had those moments of, haha, that's funny, that's clever, that's good. So I would lean more towards I didn't have fun.
That's okay. That's
but,
okay.
But, yeah, I would say not as much as I would have liked to.
What I'm hearing you say is, no, I did not have fun with horror, and it kills me to say that.
It really does, dude. It's like it hurts. I can't say it.
Now, is it because I love the movie, or
That's part of
would
it.
it be easier for you to say if I was like, yeah, I didn't really have fun either?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know you
Aw.
love this, so it hurts to say it, man.
I forgive you
Thanks, buddy.
I forgive you for having an opinion.
Well, and like I said, you and I have both been in the industry and seen how hard people work and have worked hard, and so I never, like I said, my goal is not to bash it at all. They worked hard. I love that people love this. That's great. I
agree
don't
with.
like talking negative about things, but I'm being
Well,
honest.
It's always we have to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I felt bad last week.
Yeah.
But so
How about you,
But
though?
obviously, well, I had a lot of fun, and I would watch this movie again this week if somebody wanted to. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's just ridiculous and incredibly off the wall. Like, it's stupid. It's a stupid movie.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it for that. So, but at the same time, yeah, it's a stupid movie, but I think the really masterful special effects in the movie go a long way to making me appreciate it. Like, if they were just bad special effects to purposely be bad special effects, I may not be on board as much.
Right.
But these are actually really good special effects. Yeah, sometimes it's obviously people in monster suits.
Right, of course.
But they're really well done monster suits.
Agreed.
The different designs of the aliens were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you appreciated that. I forget the alien's name, but there's the one that's just like a walking tub of like body parts and blood. And in the middle of a big fight with Psycho Goreman, he decides to just spray red blood all over Psycho Goreman, which has no effect at all. And that's things like that make me love the movie. There's like things that it make no sense whatsoever.
Right.
But they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be stupid.
Right.
And I loved it. So yeah, I had fun with horror.
Nice.
PG, Psycho Goreman.
So that was Psycho Goreman. I'm really, I like I mentioned earlier, I'm really happy that you liked it, man. I'm very happy. Loved it, yes. And I'm happy people love it. That's great. That's awesome.
One thing I haven't mentioned, and I should mention real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
It is going to shock you. Psycho Goreman is actually one of my favorite movies of the year.
Whoa.
I love it that much. Not to make you feel any worse, but yeah, when I watched it again, I was like, wow, this is definitely, it's very different from some of my other favorites of the year, but it's definitely one of my top movies of the year.
That's awesome. Hey, that's awesome, man. I love that you love it.
And I love that you stick to your opinion.
Thanks, man. I know this one was tough, but we got through it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I like that we disagreed.
Yeah,
for once,
right?
Because I'm sure like it might get tiring for people to listen and be like, they agree on everything,
right?
But no, we once in a while, it happens.
It happens.
Petty displays of wealth. How can your short lifespans allow such narcissism?
Yeah, but look at all the hunky boys.
I do not care for hunky boys. Or do I?
getting through that was tough, but this has been my most anticipated part, is finding out what movie you're picking for next week. This is
Okay.
always my favorite part.
This is a movie I have held off picking.
Okay.
Like I said, I think this is what I was going to pick a couple weeks ago, but then I thought Hellfest would be more festive.
Right. Yep.
And then I actually had another movie that I almost picked this week, but I'm sticking to my original idea this time.
Dude.
My movie is a movie that I actually, and this is another thing, I started watching this movie one night, like 5 weeks ago, a month ago or so.
Really?
And then I thought, no, I'm going to hold this movie for the podcast.
Ooh.
It's a movie not quite as popular as The Shining, but very popular.
Okay.
I have not seen it all the way through. I've only seen little bits and pieces.
Okay.
This week, you and I are going to watch George Romero's Day of the Dead, the original.
Right on. I have actually never seen this.
Nice.
Yep. This is on my list, dude.
Nice.
Yep.
So we've both never actually seen it.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome.
And it's
Yay.
crazy to me that I've never seen it because like you, I do love zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I'm pretty sure I've seen Dawn of the Dead, the original.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for a fact that I have not watched Day of the Dead all the way through.
Sweet. This is awesome.
And yeah, I sat down. I started to watch it one night. And it was mainly... So here's another thing I'd like to go into real quick.
Yeah, please.
I am very much influenced. You know, I collect vinyl soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very much influenced by which movies get a vinyl soundtrack by either Mondo or Mondo/Death Waltz Records or Waxwork Records.
Right.
If they add a movie to their catalog, it makes me interested in the movie. That is one of the reasons I wanted to see Psycho Goreman in the first place, because Waxwork, they suddenly released pre-orders for the soundtrack on vinyl, and I was like, what the hell is this? And that got me interested in watching the movie, and then I saw a trailer and really wanted to see it. Day of the Dead, a month ago, Waxwork, they had released this one a while back, but they reissued it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so curious about it. I didn't know what the music sounded like, so I bought the movie because it was on sale on iTunes, and I started to watch it mainly to hear what the music sounded like. But then I was going to watch the whole thing, and then I thought, no, I'd rather save this one for the podcast because I think this will be fun to talk about.
That's awesome, man. I'm always in a mood for a zombie movie, so I'm very excited about this.
Well, let's hope you like this one.
Maybe I'll watch the trailer. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so Day of the Dead.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Now, before we go, there is something near and dear to my heart I would like to talk about real quick.
Yes,
and
please.
I would like all 5 people listening to this. Sorry, no, it's more than 5.
That.
We do, I know, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But everybody that's listening to this, if you would do me a favor, go to Kickstarter and do a search for All Sorts Calming Cards. All Sorts Calming Cards. So this is my uncle's baby. It's his new project. My Uncle Mike, he's one of my favorite people in the world. He is basically one of the main reasons that I love watching movies so much. But he also creates some games. And he created this deck of cards that's not a game. What it is it is a deck of cards. They are double-sided, double-backed. They have a double-ended, I guess you could say, too, because there's something on either end. So basically, they're made so that you shuffle them any way you like. And no matter how you shuffle them, there's always going to be something on the side facing you. And you shuffle them any way you like, and then you sort the cards. And now there's different things on these cards. There's shapes, designs, colors. There's these little phrases that are written in different fonts. They're kind of positive. Not kind of, they are. They're positive phrases. And they're just meant as a way for you to just take your mind off things. It's basically kind of like a fidget spinner in the shape of a deck of cards. And I have a deck of these cards. I love them. I will take them out at work because I keep them with me at all times. And I'll just shuffle them and just start sorting them in whatever way I choose. Sometimes I'll do it by color, and then I'll pick my favorite phrase off the cards that are showing at the end. So anyway, so he's got a Kickstarter going so that he can make these cards even better than they already are. And I would really like to see this project get funded. So everybody that's listening to this, this is not one of those sponsorships. This is just from my heart. Go to Kickstarter, do a search for all sorts calming cards, and buy a deck of cards. Buy 2 or 3, whatever you want. But pledge for this. I'd love to see this project get funded. And you got some. You ordered some.
I did. Yep.
So I'm excited for you to get yours.
Yeah, me too. And your uncle is kind enough to write and say thank you. And I said to him, I'm as someone that's had anxiety and struggles with anxiety and things along those lines, having this looks nice. I mean, it looks like it would be the right thing or something to help with it. So I'm all on board for it. I think it's great.
And now my uncle has stressed that these are not meant to be therapeutic, medically therapeutic cards.
Right.
These are just like a fidget spinner is. You just play with it,
Yep.
You just sort these cards, and they just get your mind off things, and they just help to calm you, and they really do. I actually, and this, I mean, I know this is sounding like an advertisement, but yeah, one night I was actually just kind of, I guess I was a little anxious at work. I was just having that kind of a day, not a great day. And I was like, well, let me see how these cards do on a day like this. Because normally, I do them on any other day, and they're calming, but I tested it, and they actually did help.
Nice.
They got my mind off things a little bit, and they just helped to chill me out a little bit.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, all sorts calming cards on Kickstarter. And I'll also put the link in our Facebook page and our Instagram, our Twitter. And there I'm plugging our stuff.
Right, there you go.
So everybody out there, if you're not part of our Facebook community, it's small, but it's growing.
Yes.
Fun with Horror, the Facebook community with the most. But we're also on Instagram, and we're also on Twitter. And that's about all I have to say.
That's awesome. Yeah. Please support it. Join us. We'd love to hear from you. And next week,
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. Awesome.
Going to watch some zombies.
Zombies.
Zombies. All right, my friend.
All right, buddy.
It's been a good episode.
It has. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. As always, I had fun, and I love you, buddy.
I love you too, buddy. And have a good week.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You will suffer an eternity for this.